Good morning, everybody. I hope you're well. Even though I'm self-isolating at home, I'm taking absolutely no chances. I have no idea which germs are going to be leaping out and getting me from my garage. The best thing about working from home
is I can make lots of silly faces with my buff. How is everybody? This is Grandma Alex. I'm here to check you're all okay. I'm self-isolating because I want to look up...
Anyway, enough gags. Let's focus on how we're going to thrive in today's economic environment. Now, the last couple of days, we've done a daily stand-up. And what I've tried to do in a daily stand-up is give you just one type of conversation that you can have with clients or candidates. Remember, at this stage, someone might not be getting sound. Let me just check my sound. Let me just check my settings. Yeah, I think everyone's getting... sound. Is everyone else hearing me? Can anyone say yay? Great. Okay. Technology is brilliant. Right. So where are we at? Right. So the really important thing that we're trying to get from these daily stand-ups is giving you one thing that you can focus on every single day. When chaos reigns, the ability to feel like you can control one aspect of your life is really important. Remember, I always talk about the CIA principles. Can you control it? Can you influence it? And if you can't control it or influence it, then you're going to have to accept it. It was taught to me by one of my directors, a chap called Phil Sheridan, and it's one of those things that you get told by one of your managers that you use for the rest of your life. So we can't control. We've got to accept the situation that we've got with the coronavirus. We've got to accept the fact that the economy is going to be struggling. Over the last couple of days, we've been trying to influence how people perceive us. We've been trying to make sure everyone's okay, learning about the market, learning about how people are going to survive in the future. But what we're going to be focusing on today is the beginnings of building a plan. And a plan is again something that you need to have in order to feel like you hold on to it. Now, some of you will have grown up in bigger organizations and you'll be familiar with the term best practice and process. Best practice and process is a documented process that defines what good looks like at every stage of the sales process. And the nature of uncertain environments is that we can run around higgledy-piggledy trying to find money. But the best way to succeed is to sit back and think, if I was brand new in this job, but knew what I started now, what would I be doing? Because in tough times, you need to make sure that you've got no cracks within your sales process. In good times, a crack in the sales process and inefficiency in the sales process is not that big of a deal. The reason being is you've got enough stuff coming in the machine where you can afford for things to leave it. In a tough market, in an uncertain market, having a process that means you don't lose anybody that comes into your funnel and into your relationship nurturing cycle is absolutely key to make sure you make the best of your current opportunities. And so the challenge for each of you today, whether you work on your own, whether you work in a big company, is for you to start documenting what would my optimal sales process be? What should my sales funnel look like? And what are some of the activities that I should be looking to do on a day-to-day basis? So let me give you an example. I'm just going to share my screen, and I'm going to need everyone to say, "Can you see this?" So you can see this is an example of a sales process for a recruitment agency. And you'll notice there's 3 stages to the sales funnel. In fact, you've got 2 funnels, and then you've got a lead management system in there as well. So at the top, you've got your process around how you attract and nurture your candidate talent pool. So how do you identify that talent? How do you attract them in terms of that initial engagement of getting them to want to speak to you? The next stage is how do you qualify those people as being of interest to you to place? Then you've got your two most important lists: the candidates that are active in the market and the candidates that are passive in the market. Passive candidates are ones that are sort of got their eye open, but aren't actively looking. For those recruiters that are on the call today, your passive candidate pool is going to be growing significantly. Remember, people become passive when there's uncertainty or there's a lack of enjoyment in their current role. And there's going to be a whole host of people that are feeling uncertain. There's probably already a whole host of people that aren't even uncertain. They may well be already available. And so it's absolutely critical that you that you have those lists and you know what should I be doing with those lists at any point in time. You'll notice yesterday the questions I was getting you to ask was calling all your active candidates in the market and asking the following questions. How are you doing? How is your firm being affected by these changes? And how well do you think they'll do coming out of it? Again, we've got the client funnel below, but what we've got to do is just define some of the best practices. What should my best practice be with how I organize my target clients? What should my best practice be in terms of how I nurture those relationships? We should be asking ourselves the questions, which is knowing what I know now, that if I had to start my business from scratch, what would I do? And that's what your challenge for the day is. The challenge for the day is that you need to start thinking about what does good look like. Like many other business owners, I'm not sleeping very well at the moment. I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning. What did I do between 4:30 and 6:30 this morning? I got my lists in order. That's right. I've been going through all my clients and I've been tagging them. I've been tagging them as an active client. I've been tagging them as an inactive client, a lapsed client. And what I've been trying to do is make sure that for the business development I do, I know who I need to be reaching out with. I know who I need to be nurturing relationships with. And that's because I know what good looks like. And I know at the moment, I'm not good enough in how I manage my sales pipeline. It's hard for me to say. Maybe times have been a bit easy. Maybe I've become a bit lazy with how I organize my target list, but I can't afford to be lazy anymore. I need to write down what I think is good, and then I need to execute that. I'm meeting with Georgie, my team member, later on today. We are closing the holes in our sales process and our delivery process to make sure we look after the customers that we've got, to make sure everyone wins. And because if we can help our customers win, then we can win as a business as well. That's sort of it for the day. This is a great activity for you to do with individuals in your team. So don't go, because one of the dangers is, and I've worked with a few managers over the last few days, is what they'll do is you'll build a list of action items. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need to do this. But if it's not attached to how you want your sales process to be, if it's not attached to what you want your business to look like in 3 months, 4 months time, then all you're doing is being reactive. We've got to call active clients. Yeah, we've got to call active candidates. Yeah, we've got to do this. We've got to do that. We've got to do this. And it's all crazy and over the place. I was with a friend of mine on Sunday called Nick, and he helped me through this. He's a project manager. He's working through loads of pain around the mortgage holidays at the moment. And what he was saying was that you just got to lay all those things out, but start with what you want your business to look like in 3 months' time. How do you want the way you organize your business to work? Because when the world is slower, we've got a time to rebuild our machine the way it should be built. One of the great things about learning lives in the recruiting gym is that we answer questions. So if you have any questions about what you want to get from the day, please feel free to ping this. If you want to watch the replay, go to therecruitinggym.com and click the sign up button. And we've changed access whereby the basic version of the recruiting gym is free for everybody. we want the whole recruitment industry to survive. And so we've unlocked a whole load of our content that allows us to help you succeed on a day-to-day basis. So recruitinggym.com. If you don't follow it already, you're welcome to follow our podcast, because that's where we put the daily startups as well. Oh, I see a question has come in, and someone's asked me. A client has said that they still want to interview, but are candidates still interested in interviewing? I don't know. That's a great question. If clients still want to interview, our job is to learn how to make it work. So most of your clients will have some sort of video conferencing facility whereby you can arrange that video on a virtual basis. The unknown question at the moment is, will candidates be willing to accept a job in order to do that? Now, what I would say is that as we go through this, we need to be sharing success stories as and when we get it. So I got a message from a friend yesterday, and I thought I would share it. Hey, Alex, enjoying your videos. Some valuable points, so thank you. Half of me says it's doom and gloom for a few months. Half of me says we've had 3 placements this week, so stop being a plonker. We can ride this out. The next challenge is to get clients to pay on time. So I really like that attitude, is that we can panic, but we've got to keep focusing on the fact that a lot of clients still have business as usual. We've got another question coming in with Roland. With lesser experienced consultants, how would you explain their endpoint and what it should look like, and how they work backwards? So what we've got to do is that for lesser experienced consultants, it's actually less complicated. And the reason being is what do those individuals need? What they need is really well defined and nurtured and engaged networks. So for newer consultants, I would target them on building a passive candidate network, going through every candidate that's in your system and go, how are you doing? How are you going to be impacted? Do you want us to keep an eye out for you? Or do you want any advice? And just ask whether someone wants to be kept aware of what's in the market. That's all you're doing. And actually, it's fantastic for new consultants, because day to day, they're ringing up going, do you want a job? 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 Which is much more of a high pressure situation. What we're asking today is to ring up and going, look, I know everything's up in the air. What we're asking is, do you want us to keep you in the loop of what happens in the market over the next few weeks and months? That's all we're asking. And so that should be really easy. And the key to that is to make sure that they're doing it within core skill sets where you still think there'll be a demand in the next, say, 3-6 months. I was talking to a client yesterday, and they've got a list of 4 skills that once the uncertainty passes, they are going to need lots of them. And it wasn't an insolvency practitioner. But the point is that to find 4 skill sets where they need an engaged talent pool, and judge them by the number of people that they add in every day and the number of people that they actually interview. And what an interview is understand what they're in their current job, what their ideal job would be, what that salary would be, and set some criteria of what they need. From a client perspective, again, this is a great time to be keeping in touch. This is a great time to be keeping in touch with your clients that maybe use other agencies, clients that have maybe used you in the past. Again, not to say, have you got any jobs, but just to say, what can we do to help? Is there any insight on market intelligence? And start building those lists. So actually for newer consultants, it's easier because they're not expected to get a sale or any sort of commitment. They're just looking to build an engaged audience. And so hope that answers your question, Roland. And Roland shared some good news. One of his team had 2 job offers this week where the whole process has been through Skype calls. Boom! Let me take a picture of that. I am fired. I'm fired up by that. That is awesome. Fantastic for sharing that success story. It's great but that's it. That's the startup. It's been a bit longer than yesterday. So remember, your action today is to map out in Post-its the different stages of your funnel, candidate funnel, client funnel, and then write down what good looks like in 30 days in those funnels. Not necessarily from a financial volume perspective, but in terms of the numbers of people that you've got engaged at each stages of the process. I'll see you soon. And I'm back to self-isolation. See you later. Bye.